When you're ready.
Okay. The question I investigated from is, should animals be used for biomedical research? In researching the topic, I focused on the ethical perspective. This research led me to the conclusion that from an ethical standpoint, animals should continue being used for biomedical research in our current time because of the medical discoveries gained as a result. However, there are definitely limitations associated with the practice of animal testing that I will discuss. Evidence in line of reasoning. First, it is the unreliable predictions on human health. This is in many cases due to the differences between human physiology as compared to animal physiology. While this is an issue that pertains to the scientific side of animal research, it can also become an ethical concern when it affects the patients receiving treatment. In an important case of this, researchers tested the use of thalidomide on laboratory animals to test the safety and effectiveness of the drug. To offer a better understanding of the treatment is a research article written by 7 specialists in medical genetics, cellular biology, and various other departments of medicine. This article writes that limited studies in animals had suggested that thalidomide was not toxic. Despite evidence that it was a safe sedative, thalidomide had severe congenital defects and limb reduction in babies born in the early 1960s. While its intentions were to cure morning sickness in mothers, babies were also documented as being born with cardiac, genitourinary, and gastrointestinal abnormalities. However, by the time it was removed by the market, over 10,000 babies born from mothers taking thalidomide had been born worldwide. In Figure 1, it shows one of the many victims of thalidomide. Although this is a limitation, animal research has been very crucial for the acquisition of knowledge in medicine. Many medicines discovered in history have been a direct result of animal experimentation, and among the most notable includes the vaccine for polio. As a contagious virus that infects the spinal cord and can cause lifelong paralysis, the polio virus had the potential to harm millions more people if not for this type of research. Through the works of Anna Vicus, a lecturer in microbiology and head of the National Polio Laboratory, she reviews the history of polio. It is explained that the first inactivated polio vaccine, also known as IPV, was produced by Salk using virus grown on monkey kidney cells. A dramatic change was seen following the licensing and adoption of Jonas Salk's treatment throughout America. With the use of IVP, the cases in the United States reduced from 13.9 per 100,000 in 1954 to 0.8 cases per 100,000 in 1961. Between the years that a vaccine was devised for polio to today, animal testing has accomplished many more medical findings. Not only have these medical discoveries improved human health, but also the health of animals because of its relevance to veterinary medicine. This is detailed in an article written by Catherine S. Rutland, a graduate of the School of Veterinary Medicine and Science at the University of Nottingham, and 4 other researchers with various degrees in medicine. While physiology can differ among humans compared to other organisms, this article reviews the shared molecular observations and mechanisms between humans and dogs with osteosarcoma, or OSA. Throughout this research, it was determined that not only do dogs serve as valuable mechanisms in researching canine OSA itself, but human OSA as well. Although there are key differences between the two, parallels can be drawn to formulate effective treatments for both. This is proven in the statement, comparative examples such as the dysregulation of the 14q32 mRNA cluster in both dogs and people not only identify potentially conserved mechanism related to the aggressive and invasive biologic behavior of OSA in both species, but yet again emphasize the similarities between the 2 species. Still, one of the primary ethical concerns is the result of pain and suffering in the living organisms being experimented on. Graduate of the Laboratory Animal Research Center of the University of California, Larry Carbone writes on the ethical and regulatory imperatives of these painful procedures. He states that it is a nuanced norm. Causing pain is not categorically prohibited, it is allowed only with the justification that a valuable scientific experiment requires that animal pain be left untreated. So, with policies such as the Animal Welfare Act, there's no strict regulation on the suffering caused to these animals. While it is hard to justify this, attempting to administer painkillers or avoiding the pain all around can interfere with the experiment. Additionally, it is difficult to quantify the levels of animal pain caused, but the authors suggest that funding for experiments only be given to the best proposals. Placing a strict limit on the amount of suffering researchers can cause is nearly impossible, but the number of dollars an agency receives for treatment can be limited by society. This way, an emphasis on humane animal testing is placed on organizations that wish to carry it out. While animals are a valuable resource for biomedical research, it should be limited wherever possible as to not produce an excess of it. If alternative methods such as organ-on-a-chip devices or computer models eventually yield comparable results, they should be prioritized.
All right, thank you. A couple of questions. How valid and reliable are the sources you used? How do you know? And which sources didn't work?
Well, I noticed that compared to the last presentation I did on stem cell therapies, there were a lot older articles because this has been a type of research that has been going on for a while, but I still try to keep it up to date as possible and taking my research into university studies and everything like that.
Okay. If you had more time, what additional research would you conduct related to this issue?
I would probably like to research more about the environment because that can also relate to ethics, and I think that it could maybe alter my plan a little bit.
Okay, thank you. All right, hey, nice job.
Thanks.
Stop that.